start, could you introduce us to your characters in the series and what attracted you to this role? Emily, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. I play Chelsea, who's a Harvard graduate turned lawyer, who gets unexpectedly dumped by her boyfriend and is forced to move in with her estranged sister, Claire, who lives in Venice Beach, very far away from cognitively where Chelsea is and physically where Chelsea is. And we get to see the two of them rebuild their relationship over season one. And I'm excited for the world to see that because it's heartwarming.
I play Claire, Chelsea's sister, and she's just an incredibly easygoing, fun-loving, warm, kind person who's just really good with where she's at in life. When we meet her, she's not exactly aspirational. I think she's just very content, kind of coasting, and is in that place in your life where you maybe don't have much, but you have your friendships, and that's really all you need. She's very happy there, and she's fun. Claire's fun and happy and sweet.
You were both saying the series is about these two sisters reconnecting. For both of you, what was the collaboration like bringing that dynamic to life on screen? Olivia, do you want to start?
Absolutely. This is not unfamiliar territory for me. I have a lot of siblings. I have four sisters, but I specifically have an older sister named Emily, who's 2 years older, who is incredibly smart. She's a teacher, and in many ways, our dynamic is very similar to Chelsea and Claire. So I was really excited because obviously I can relate to this, and anyone with siblings can relate to either being different and having to navigate that, or really loving each other and having each other's backs. And I think you see both of those sides of that coin with these sisters. And it was super easy to do with Emily. We just had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We were really supportive of one another. And I think we had so much fun with the goofy moments, and we were really on the same page. Like at one point, it said in the script that maybe you were supposed to lift me.
I think I'm supposed to lift. Yeah.
She was supposed to lift me, but I am considerably taller than Emily, and we just looked at each other and we were like, wouldn't it be way funnier if I lifted you? And it's one of my favorite moments. It's right at the top, but I just think it's hilarious that I like pick her up and spin her
Well, I
around.
think you were supposed to jump into my arms or something.
That's what it was. I
Yeah,
was supposed
I'm
to
like,
jump into her arms.
I'm significantly shorter than Olivia. I don't know if this is gonna work.
I was like, I'm gonna crush this poor petite woman. So instead I thought, how hilarious would it be if I lifted her up in the air? And I just love that we kind of did the like cockeyed choice. But then some of my favorite moments are when they really connect with each other and it's super grounded. I think that that's the beauty of the show, is there's a lot of broad comedy, but when we really get to the heart of a matter, I think our writers just did it so well.
Emily, you're no stranger to comedy. What is it about this genre that excites you as a creative?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of avenues in multicam comedy that I'd like to explore. I've always wanted to direct multicam. I hope to see that down the pipeline at some point. I like the friendships that you make, the connections that you make. The schedule's fantastic. And I like being able to tell a story front to back in 22 minutes. I think it's a feat in comedy writing to be able to tell anything quickly. And I think it's a wonderful format, and it just brings joy to so many people, especially after the year we've had. Being able to just turn on something that's comforting is nice to be a part of.
Olivia, your character has a lot of great one-liners. How much of that was improvised? Is there a scene that you're particularly excited for your fans to see?
Oh my gosh. I mean, our writers are incredible. And I think when you're dealing with a format that's so technically proficient, I didn't want to stray too much and I didn't feel the need to. But for me, it's like those little physical comedy moments. I have quite a few with Emily. I have quite a few with Michael C. Rosen, who plays Jaden. He and I together, we're just like two like bouncing, like, what would you say? Like, just
bouncing orbs.
Yeah, just bouncing orbs.
Bouncing
like,
orbs of light.
We really play off of each other. There's a moment where Jaden is trying to play it cool, and so he starts beatboxing, and Michael apparently is an amazing natural beatboxer, and he's breakdancing a little bit, but like Claire's such a beta to him that she's just in the background, like being his hype girl, like vibing with him. And I just like, it's those little moments where you kind of fill in a story. They're just so silly and fun.
Emily, we see from the trailer that Chelsea begins to develop feelings for Grant. What can you tease about that dynamic and how it'll affect her relationship with Claire?
Sure. I mean, I'm sure you can guess what that may do to Claire if she finds out that her older sister has feelings for her ex-boyfriend. But at the end of the day, you can't stop how you feel about somebody. And I think you see Chelsea struggle with what's right and what's not going to hurt her sister, who she's just recently reconnected with. And that's another separate journey that she has to take. She's got the journey, with herself, reconnecting with her sister, and potentially opening up the door to, having feelings for someone she never thought she would date. So she's going through a lot.
And then final question for the both of you. The series does a beautiful job balancing comedy and drama. For you both as actresses, is one more challenging than the other? Emily, do you want to kick us off?
It's interesting that they're both so different. I think in terms of challenging, this is technically it's a format that I understand, but comedy can be. I often find comedy is more difficult than drama, just because comedy can get stale the more you do it, and it's hard to keep it fresh and to keep it real and natural. And especially with multicam, you're kind of saying the same thing a lot, and it's difficult to make sure it's coming across as genuine every time. And I think that's maybe the most challenging.
I just think it's incredible when you see a comedian who can do great drama, and I think you find that more in greats like Steve Carell, Melissa McCarthy nowadays. It can be a little bit harder to go from drama to comedy, I think. So I just have a really great respect for great comedic actors. And I always think of the people that I admire the most. Would they think what I'm doing is funny? Which I don't know if that's right or wrong necessarily, but whatever. I mean, I'm just learning as I go. But that sounds great, Olivia. But yeah, I think comedy is harder, but so gratifying, especially when you're working with other great actors. I mean, Emily and Greg are such pros in the multi-camera format, but also Cynthia and Michael are absolutely incredible. And I had such a different dynamic with all four of them, but by the end, especially, we all had such distinct shorthands, and it was so great being like, oh, I know what you bring, and I know how I can build off of that, or I'm going to throw this ball and I know you're going to catch it. I just think there's nothing better.